our chrome plating of our fiberglass parts. We're manufacturing bumpers, headlight bezels, grille moldings, eyebrows, just tons of different stuff. We finally found a chrome plater that can chrome plate it for us. The problem is, I feel the parts should be fitted to the car before they're chrome plated. Okay, we can do all of our prep work, which we're going to show you the prep work to the fiberglass. We can do all of our prep work and ship it out, and that's the other topic, is the shipping part of it. We can ship it to the chrome plater. They do all their chrome plating. They do an excellent job. They ship it back to us, and then we have to rebox it and ship it out to you. We ship them by freight. Doesn't necessarily have to be by freight, but I choose freight because freight is a little safer than UPS or FedEx, but it all depends on how you're going to package it. If you're comfortable with shipping it UPS, FedEx, then ship it that way. But I want to bring the cost down. It's what's involved in the fiberglass to plate it is the prep. You're going to have to do some prep work yourself versus us doing it. Each bumper you're probably going to have 2 or 3 hours with a final prep to finish it off and to get it to where you want it to fit your car, okay? Because each car is different. They're not like a metal car that's fixtured together totally. You see in the background a little slideshow going from a GM of a 63 coupe. And these things are put together well, but they're not put together precisely. And so a 1/16 of an inch is gigantic, especially where you got your bumpers coming into your quarter panel and taillight panel. There can be a little variance there from car to car. And so if we fit our bumpers to a car that we have here, they may not fit your car the same. And that's what concerns me, is if we start really rolling forward and having all these bumpers plated. And so we want to eliminate all the excess freight that we're doing to get it to you. You can do that. If you can build this car, you can do all this work. You don't need us doing it. To get your perfect fit, it needs to be fitted to the car it's going on, body work to that car, the car body work to the bumper, however you want to do it. I personally think if you were to body work it, put your car into primer, and then refit it. You don't prime the bumpers. You just prime the car and then refit it for a final fit before you ship them off to the chrome platers. None of these cars are built in 2 weeks, so we know it's a very time-consuming project building a custom Corvette. It takes time. And never let time cheat you by doing it right. Do it right, spend the time to do it. We just want to spend our time designing new products. Don't really want to spend our time prepping these bumpers to get them chrome plated. That's something you can handle. And so take care of it. Put the love into it that you've been putting into the car, and you'll build a nice car when you're done. Just take your time. So you'll receive the bumper from us. We're going to show you the video of how to prep the bumper to ship it off to the plater. We're going to let you know who the plater is when you buy bumpers from us. It's not something we're going to just announce out here to the world, because the plater doesn't want to get bombarded. They're more of a job shop doing volume for big companies. And right now I feel pretty lucky that they're going to let us do this. So they're going to review this video and give us the okay. And if we share this video with you, they gave us the okay. So watch the video of how the process is done and enjoy. Thanks for watching.
Good morning, Corey here from Dynamic Corvettes. I'm here to explain a little bit of our process on our fiberglass bumpers and what you need to know to get them ready to go to the chrome plater. So when you receive our bumpers, this is a rear 62 bumper. It's going to have a little bit of clay in the seams. They have to put that in there to separate everything. So what you're going to do is you can take wax and grease remover, you can take mold cleaner, you can take lacquer thinner. There's different things you can use to get that off. You just have to use your imagination and put the work in. So first thing is you're going to do is just come in here with a rag, clean all that off. You can see now how it's starting to come off. You just want to make sure all of this is out of here before you start sanding. Before you receive the bumper, we also put this into an oven, depending on if they're going to get chrome plated or not. Most likely we will still cook them either way at about 240 to 250 degrees for 20 to 30 minutes. And that's just going to kind of get the fiberglass up to temp and make sure that everything's cured out on the inside. So when it goes to the chromer, because they're going to get it a little bit hotter than what it normally would be to make sure everything bonds to the fiberglass and holds out. So just going to keep moving around, making sure all the clay and wax is off it. There's going to be some spots where you're going to have little pits and pinholes throughout the seam. So that's kind of showing me right there that there's a pit right there because the clay didn't come off it. So these are areas that we're going to have to body work and make sure that they're really smooth before we send it off to get chrome plated. If you have a painted car, you necessarily can't body work the car to the bumper, so you're going to have to body work the bumper to the car, which isn't really a bad thing because if the car is done and you decide to buy these bumpers, at least you know that you can manipulate the bumper a little bit to fit. They fit really well regardless, but if you want them to be perfect all the way around, you're going to have to put a little bit of work into them to make sure that they fit right. Okay, so when you come here to get ready to start sanding your bumper, you're going to feel there's a little bit of an edge here from the parting line. When these get bonded together, the mold comes together with two pieces and it squishes it together, and then it'll leave this little bit of an edge. And you can see here where there's like some imperfections in the edge. All of this stuff is going to have to be body work. The top side surface up here most likely is going to be fine. All you'd have to do is kind of come in here and refine this up to 400 grit. But from this edge here and this edge here, you're going to most likely put some filler on there and make sure it's all smoothed out. It's just not really feasible to get a perfect edge off these without having to do a little bit of body work. So we're going to come over here to the car. Now that we got the bumper all cleaned up, we got the clay off and the wax off, we're going to go test fit it onto the car to see what we're looking like, how's it fitting, just get a rough idea of what we're dealing with. So I'm gonna come over here. So we're going to do a test fit on our bumper here to a car that we had painted recently, just to get a quick idea of how it's fitting. So I'm just going to kind of set it up there nicely and just check the fit. So we're going to look down inside that edge and see we have a nice consistent gap pretty much down the whole way of it. If you come over here on this side, Andrew, we can see here where the gap looks good and it gets a little tight right here in this corner. So what we can do here is we can tape off this bumper once it's mounted onto the vehicle, and we can kind of shave away a little bit of that on the back side. So right here where this edge is, where the parting line is a little thick. So to keep it all the way consistent and make sure that it looks perfect all the way around, you can tape it. You can take tongue depressors, you can put that between it to make sure that everything stays the same. Really whatever your preference is on fitting it is kind of the key here. So just get it how you want it, get it mounted on the car, and you're going to have to just fit it to the vehicle. Every one of these Corvettes are a little bit different. They're not all exactly the same. So it's important to test fit. It's important to make sure everything's mounted all the way with all the hardware, and just to get an idea of what it's looking like. Stand back, look at it, just check it, make sure you're happy with it, and then continue on with your body working process. So once we have that established and everything is set how we want it, we can go into the refining process, which we can come in here with some sandpaper. I just got a couple different grits on a soft block. There's some 80 grit and 150 grit. So these flat areas out here don't necessarily need any 80 grit because all of this is pretty nice right out of the mold. So what I would do is I would come in here with a little bit of 80 on some of these rougher areas where it's a little heavier. And we're just going to come in here and sand that down. roll it a little bit. You kind of want your edges to be rolled. You don't really want anything to be super sharp, because if it is, it's going to be prone to chipping when it's painted or chromed. So all parts that we usually install onto our vehicles, everything's kind of got a nice little roll to it. And plus it makes it look nice and finished. So I'm just going to run through here on a small little section and show you guys kind of what we're looking for. You're gonna have a few hours into each bumper. Don't think that you're just gonna buzz through them real quick and be done in an hour. It's gonna take you a little bit of time. It's gonna take a little bit of work and effort to make sure that these bumpers look like how you want them to look. So you can see now that you can't really feel on camera. Maybe you can in the future, I don't know. But you can see that edge is gone now. So once that edge is gone, I'm going to bump up to some 150 and kind of come out here to the outside and keep the same consistent sand scratch throughout the whole thing. And I'm coming up to this front edge peak, and I'm keeping that line nice and straight and consistent. With these parts, you can kind of manipulate the lines a little bit, so if you don't double check your sanding, sometimes you can get that line a little squirrely, and you don't want that. You want it to stay nice and straight like how that is. So you want to just keep making sure that you're cross hatching and Xing. Go different directions. And you can see how smooth the finish is getting, and this is just in 150 grit. So you're gonna end up taking this up to about 400 grit, but you wanna do all of your fill work first. So in here where some of these pits are, we're just gonna come in here about, I don't know, 1/4 inch out, and you're gonna Bondo it. You're gonna Bondo out the edge. You can use putty, you can use filler. If there's major holes or major voids in this, you'd probably want to either use some epoxy or you'd want to use some USC Duraglass, the fiberglass reinforced filler. And you're going to want to come in here and fill some of these spots. But first thing you want to do, like I said previously and earlier in the video, is you're going to want to fix all these spots first. So you're going to come in here and sand all this the rest of the way. I kind of just did a quick little section so you guys can see what I was talking about as far as knocking down the edge. You're going to want to finish that all the way around. All the way around the bumper, all the way around the face, and all the way around the back side of it. Get all of this stuff done first. Once all of this is done first, then you can come out here and start sanding the rest of it and getting it all refined up to 400 grit. So this is pretty much just the process. On the back side, the chromer requires us to drill bigger holes in the back sides of these for drainage. So I'm gonna show you guys a completed bumper, and you can see what I mean by the holes. What we usually do is just take a hole saw and carefully drill into this, and then without going through the other side, you just want to try to get it to go through the one face, and then usually we just do 3 holes. One in the corner, one out in the other corner, and one in the center. And that's just so the solution from the chromer can get out of the bumper, because if it stays inside there, it'll get all stuck and it won't come out. So, and these screw holes are not big enough for it to drain out. So I'm gonna set this down and we're gonna show you a chrome bumper that is completed, bodyworked, and fitted to our 62 vehicle. So here we have our 62 bumper, which has been already bodyworked, fitted, and sent to the chromer to get plated. These are the holes that I was telling you about that they require for us to put into the bumper for drainage. You can see that it's just a big hole. There's just a big hole in the back of the bumper, and that's pretty much that part of that. So you come in here and look on the edges, how everything is rolled and everything is bodyworked to perfection. Depending on how nice you want the insides of them, you can go in here and smooth all this out as nice as you want. You literally will never see any of that, so it's not something that's really required to be that nice, but I mean, it's still pretty decent. We just make sure that everything on the outside and edges are perfect. So you want to just make sure all that's taken care of. And when you look at it, it looks nice. The lines are nice and straight. So we're going to set it up here. I'm going to give you a quick little viewing of how it fits. And you can see the gap around it's perfect. Every little bit of it is nice and tight. You can just set it up there and you can see that the gap is nice all the way around. Okay, so today we just wanted to clarify how we do the body work on the bumpers before they go to the plater, and just some of the fit and finish parts of it. Like I said, in your raw fiberglass bumper, you're going to want to take this up to 400 grit. You can do it wet, you can do it dry, whatever you prefer. But I would start with 80 to 150 on the seams, work it each grit up, go 220, 320, 400, make sure the filler is smoothed out, there's no sand scratches, use guide coat, and just make sure that all the holes are drilled. Everything that's on this bumper, you're going to want to do on this bumper. So the holes, the fit and finish, all of that needs to be done prior to painting or chrome plating on your bumper. If you have any questions, reach out to us, and you can also check out some of our other videos we have on bodyworking tips. Again, thanks for watching.